This podcast is part of the Shrimp Queen Network.
Visit facebook.com/Shrimp Queen Network to see more great podcasts.
Hear them.
Hear more great podcasts.
Good job.
Thanks for listening.
Ding, 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 ding. So no one told you life was going to be this way. You're not going to continue?
No, I'm like Idina Menzel. I only need to do 70% of a song. Which, by the way,
maybe 4%
I forgot
of the song.
to bring up last week how amazingly Bradley Cooper, who is not a trained singer, performed at the Oscars basically perfectly. Meanwhile, when Idina Menzel
Are we calling
performed,
that perfect?
perfect within the song,
Oh,
like
okay,
he
sure.
performed exactly how it sounds when it's recorded.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Idina Menzel,
Yeah, I know.
who is our friend Avery, who we probably should have just like invited on the show because she's like, you know,
She's home right now.
around right now. I feel bad now. Pointed out that apparently Idina Menzel blew out her vocal cords in Wicked because she didn't mix her voice. She only used her chest voice, and that's bad apparently. And if you there's videos comparing her first performance as
I don't think anybody
Elphaba
really cares
versus her
about
last performance, and apparently it's like night and day. Well, here we go.
Okay. Would you like to tell them what your...
Well, yes, there's a
topic
reason I
is?
was singing that little ditty.
I think they can tell by the title of what they clicked on.
You're right.
Ew.
I bet that sounded great. Today's episode is something a little different than everything else. Like it's
not different.
It's a ranking, but it's a different kind of ranking because I've never done one in this sense before, where it's less about like the quality of the writing of a character and more of like how the character acts, based on kind of the psychology of that and social psychology of interaction and friendship. So today's episode, I will be going through and ranking each member of the main group of friends from the show.
Friends.
The Big Bang Theory. Bazinga.
Friends.
Ooh, friends. So for those who have not seen the show,
Back up a little bit.
it's a little... Oh, it's fine. It's coming through fine.
It's higher than it usually is.
That's good. The show is from... I mean, I don't really know anybody who doesn't know at least what it's about, but, you know, just to go over it. It's a show about 6 friends.
It aired like a day before I was born.
1995?
No, oh no, it was almost on my birthday. That's what it is. But a year later.
Yeah.
I thought it was 94 for some reason.
Let me double check.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure it was 95.
I was pretty sure it was 94.
Yeah, you're right. 22nd September.
Haha, yes. It was started 4 days before I was born on my uncle's birthday, but he was not born that day, that year. He was born that day many years before that.
1994 went on for 10 years. It's about a group of friends, 6 friends living in New York, starting in their mid-20s and ending in their mid-30s, just kind of growing up.
I remember watching the finale.
Yeah,
as a 10-year-old.
It's kind of... The creators made it because it was the general sitcom landscape was more about... Well, no, it was more about families at that point in time. There was really only a couple exceptions, like Seinfeld.
I'm sorry, I don't like Seinfeld, and I know that it's...
I'm a bae!
And I know that it's like the biggest...
This was like a big, like, it was either you're a Seinfeld person or you're a Friends person. Yeah. I say like both because they both have their merits.
I never found... I don't know if it's just because there was like one girl to relate to.
You don't like Seinfeld and you don't like Broad City?
I didn't care for any of them.
Wow, anti-Semitic.
What?
You don't like Jewish sitcoms, apparently.
I didn't know that Seinfeld was a Jewish sitcom.
It's like very Jewish.
I don't like notice these things.
What percent German were you in your 23andMe?
I don't know. Jesus Christ. Stop this. Stop.
Okay, let's move on. Sorry.
I find that funny.
Let's move on, I guess.
Yeah.
So basically at that point, the landscape was extremely saturated with family sitcoms like Married with Children. I feel like The Wonder Years had just recently wrapped up. Boy Meets World. A lot of stuff about...
When was The Wonder Years on?
Late 80s into early 90s.
Oh, I thought it was later 90s.
No. I think it started...
That means that he's old. I didn't know.
It started in 1988 and ended in 1994, yeah. Because it was exactly 20 years beforehand where like it was like the setting. So it was 1968 to 1974 was like the span of the show.
1988 to 1993.
Ah, fuck. Just a year off.
1993, sorry. Boy Meets World started the same year that it ended and went on.
Oh,
2000.
The same year that The Wonder Years ended.
Yes, the brothers passed the torch to each other.
So basically, the Full House, a lot of stuff about families, and the creators were kind of like, well, there's a point in your life before you settle down and have a family where your best friends are your family, more or less. So that's what they wanted to make a show about, and they did. It was wildly successful. It got to the point where for the last 3 seasons, every main cast member was getting $1 million per episode because it was just like this huge phenomenon. It spawned hairstyles and fashion choices.
The realistic idea of being a waitress and apparently making money to live.
In New York?
Yes.
Well, they explained that in the last episode. Apparently, Monica's apartment was rent controlled, and that's how they afforded it for so long. Well, anyway, there are 6 main characters: Ross and Monica Geller, who are both siblings.
Both
Chandler,
of them?
yes, Chandler Bing, Chandler Bong, Chandler Bong, Joey Tribbiani, Rachel Green, and Phoebe Buffet, aka
Lisa Kudrow.
No, what's her alternate name? What does she change her name to?
Oh, Princess Consuela Banana Hammock, right?
Yes.
Or you might mistake her for her twin sister, Ursula.
Or her other alter ego, Regina Phalange, or Dr. Regina Phalange, or Regine Phalange as well.
What a great character.
So basically what I wanted to do was rank all 6 of the main characters based on how well they exemplified the qualities of a good friend and good friendships and good relationships.
Who's the best friend in Friends?
Yes. So my ranking criteria is, generally how I rank friends. I'd love your input on...
Loyal.
Yes, that's one of them. So I have a genuine interest in others.
You're the one who told me that when you're friends with someone, you are at least a little bit attracted to them.
Yes. And they remind you of you and you like you. So... Everyone likes themselves.
I don't know about that.
They like to see themselves reflected in other things. But yes, almost every single person you're friends with who isn't related to you, you have on some level an attraction to them.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
Yeah. Just some quality about them.
So loyal.
Well, I have the list and you can just add on to it.
Well, I was going to try to guess some. Genuine
interest in another's life and well-being, selfless acts and giving, loyalty, positivity about their lives and the lives of others, appreciative of differences, shared interests, honesty and openness, and general, ability to entertain each other.
My thing is also the ability to not speak for 3 months and then catch up, and it's basically no time, it's not awkward. It's chill because I have a few friends that don't live near, and we talk once in a blue moon, but it'll be for a few hours, and it's nothing happened. They're not even gone.
They're the family you get to choose.
Stop that.
So I also put this up to a vote.
On his Instagram.
On my Instagram, follow me. I'm the amazing spider _Dan.
Mine's pretty simple. It's just Jess R. Myers. One word.
So in the first round, Rachel and Ross both got ousted as the 2 worst friends, according to people who voted. Then followed by Monica and Chandler. And right now it's a final showdown between Phoebe and Joey, which Joey is winning 16-10 currently. With the person in third place, it's a tie between Monica and Chandler right now, 13-13. So go vote, even though the voting will be closed by the time this episode comes out.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get to it.
Just jump right into it.
Number 6. Can you guess?
Are we saying he's the 6th best friend, or are we just saying he's the worst friend?
The worst friend. But I guess also you could phrase it as the 6th. Yeah, it's Ross Geller. He fucking sucks. Well, one of our group chats on Facebook, everyone's assigned a character on Friends. It's not saying that this person, if he's listening to it, is like Ross in this respect.
Everyone's nickname in the group chat.
Yes.
Now sign.
You're much better than Ross. So enjoy that.
Charles, honey, we love you.
Oh, he's been on it. Yeah, Charlie, he's been on this.
You. Don't worry.
It's more just the general
the awkwardness.
Awkward and nerdiness and
also
enthusiasm.
Quite funny, but
okay.
You have none of his bad qualities.
Thankfully. Portrayed by David Schwimmer, who let's just give a hand to for portraying this character for so long and like just being such a.
He's really fucking tall,
worst.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
That's
this one's pretty obvious for anybody who's watched the show. Ross was fucking rinsed in the vote. At least Rachel kind of came close to beating, I think it was Phoebe who she was against, but Monica just obliterated Ross in my vote. Yeah, it was like 8-23 or something. The term
friend zone is literally because of him. It was not like a phrase before the show Friends until Ross used it. It was not.
I tipped my fedora to him.
It wasn't a phrase. You couldn't find it like in like things. Like that wasn't like a thing. And then he said it in like Friend Zone.
No.
Or sorry, in Friends.
But actually, Joey's the one who says it.
But it was about.
Yeah.
But then Ross is the one who just
latched onto it.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's the episode with the blackout.
My God.
Where Joey's like, you are firmly in the friend zone. And he's like, well, what's the friend zone?
But then he ate that shit up.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
So he does have some redeeming.
Also before they had made Joey like Joey.
Yeah, he does have some redeeming qualities. So let's just go through.
Okay.
He can be funny on occasion, mostly unintentionally funny, unlike a lot of the other characters who a lot of their humor comes from the jokes. His is more about the situations that he is in and gets himself into because of his personality.
It like in top scenes that like I like laugh at from Friends, like top 10 pivot with like the couch, that is in that.
Yeah.
Because it is.
As well as the sandwich thing. And the rock polisher. There's a lot of funny things.
Yeah.
And basically anytime he's on screen from when he was...
My sandwich.
Anytime he was on screen... Oh, and the Get Off My Sister. Anytime he was on screen, like in his teen years with his mustache and everything.
And my sister.
He's very generous with his... He can be generous with his friends, mostly to Joey. Because basically everybody is. He's
Joey
very loyal.
Doesn't hurt anyone.
Loyal to Chandler and Joey. For example, when Joey asks how they're going to break up Chandler and Janice, Roz says that they shouldn't just because Janice makes Chandler happy and they should just enjoy that. He cares deeply about his sister Monica and is overjoyed when he finds out that she and Chandler are an official couple.
After confirming that it wasn't just like nothing for them. Yeah. Then he was like, all right.
He cares a lot about animals and studying them greatly. He had a monkey.
His first child, we believe he cared about, but then he disappeared.
And I said he tries to be his best.
To be a good dad.
He tries his best to be a great dad to his son, Ben. His Sprousian son, Ben.
Yeah, in Friends, I couldn't tell Cole and Dylan apart yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad there, too. Let's just... jump into it. He's extremely self-absorbed and weighs almost everyone else's problems against his own before deciding if he should acknowledge their problems. That's kind of his thing. His catchphrase is the hi.
That's how he entered. That's his first line of the entire show.
He repeats it a lot. He's very down about everything and just a downer.
And his hairstyle just gets like... As the years keep going by for us, it's just uglier and uglier sometimes. It was almost a mullet.
Some of his most cited selfless acts of being about to take Rachel to prom so she didn't have to go alone is wholly self-serving. He only did that because he liked Rachel and he thought it would get in her good graces.
And then it was kind of used as like a...
And then also when he lets her win at poker in the episode with all the poker.
And then when Rachel writes the letter before they can ever get back together, she just wants him to read it. And he doesn't read it.
Well, it's like 32 pages long.
Well, yeah, I know. But then he just like pretends to read it. And I'm like, boy, you could have just told her that you fell asleep and then read it later. For
the first 2 seasons, he seemingly cannot get over or accept the fact, that his ex-wife is a lesbian and makes jokes about it for the entirety of the series. He tries to sabotage almost every relationship that Rachel is in or gets into. He arguably cheats on Rachel. Some people say he does. Some people say he doesn't.
He did.
Yeah.
A break is not to go sleep with other people. A break is to have some time to yourself.
Yeah. Exactly.
And he just assumed that she was cheating because she was working with a guy.
No, like her coworker came over to like...
No, I know, but he assumed that she was...
Yeah, cheating on him.
That entire time, he was like assuming it.
And also, like, he was in the wrong...
Since she got the job, he was like...
The reason that they kind of break up is because he just like insists on showing up to her...
work
when she's very busy and in the middle of something, and he like brings a picnic and lights stuff on fire, and he's very much in the wrong for that whole deal. He thinks he has it the worst out of all of his friends all the time just because he was a nerd in high school and got a divorce.
He was the loved child.
He had the best life out of all of them growing up. He was his parents' favorite. He has a healthy Sprousian son. He is extremely smart enough to get a PhD in his mid-20s. He has a high-paying job that he loves in a career
dinosaurs.
In a field that he cares about. There's very little for him to compare about in comparison with everybody else in the show. Really, the only other character who's had a comparatively good life would be Rachel, but even then she didn't really know what she wanted to do. She was kind of just going through the motions. She didn't know herself, but he kind of goes through the least amount of growth over the whole show. Maybe him and Joey. He's just a
whiny bitch.
Because he starts the show in the best position out of all of them.
Growth.
What?
Joey?
You said go through's growth.
He grows.
He is not accepting of others' viewpoints, i.e. when Phoebe says that she doesn't believe in evolution because it's a scientific theory, and she understands that scientific theories are just theories and are just there to explain something until a better explanation comes along, and she thinks that evolution is too simplistic for explaining everything. She thinks there's a better scientific theory out there, and seemingly can't admit ever being wrong or in the wrong. He didn't divorce Rachel when she wanted one and secretly kept a recording of them having sex, both of which are huge red flags. And honestly, if Monica weren't his sister, he probably would have been ousted from the group very early on because of his general unpleasantness. I mean, maybe Chandler would have like had some sort of relationship with him, but maybe just kind of like hanging out every couple weeks.
Is there any situation where he helped one of the others with like their issue of the week? And not like a little teeny, I mean like with their actual emotional life.
I don't know. I mean, and also you can argue, and Phoebe argues that there is no true altruistic act because in some way you are getting...
Yeah, I know. No, I'm just wondering. Where he is the one that like they go to for help. Is there?
Tries to learn.
Now I've seen every episode multiple times.
He tries to learn the bagpipes for their wedding.
But that's also a little bit selfish because they ask him not to do that. And he's like, oh no, but I'll get better. And they're like, no, we just don't want you to. That is,
I mean,
but
that's like not helping them
with I'm saying, like, has he ever been the one that like they've gone to with a problem?
Been a couple times when he like helps like Joey with something, like paying for something, or like he gets Joey a job at his museum.
Yeah, but then he also starts beating Joey in the game that Chandler created to give Joey money and won't give it back even after he learns. What is it called? Cups?
Something like that. But he does get Joey a job. He does do some stuff for people. It's just...
I'm just wondering.
A lot of the time it's for ulterior... Well, anytime it involves Rachel, it's for ulterior reasons. And he doesn't really acknowledge the fact that his parents liked him more than Monica, or the effect that had on Monica for a large portion of her life.
He also left Rachel
really
on
only
a plane with no explanation and said that he'd be right back.
Greece. Yeah, really the only time he acknowledges that is when Monica's stuff gets destroyed.
Oh, he does feel bad, yeah, and he tries to, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I see it.
Yeah, there are some stuff, but...
And that's when their dad is like, oh,
but even then,
secretly
can you really count that as friendship? Because they're siblings?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Number 5. Now, this one might be a little...
I feel like the next 5, it's going to be like, oh, God, I don't know.
Controversial. Rachel Green.
That's not controversial to me.
Okay. Portrayed by Jennifer Aniston.
Because for a lot of the series, though she got better, she was very selfish.
Yeah. So while number 5, I still think she is leagues better than Ross is in terms of friendship. So
Ross is technically number 60.
Yeah, so we got Ross, and then we have Mike, Richard. We got...
Mike would not be that far down.
Richard.
If Mike was in this list, he would be number 2. Okay.
Then
Janice
Gunther,
would be up there.
Janice.
All of Joey's sisters.
When Leah Thompson was in one episode as her character from another TV show.
What?
Christine in the City.
Oh.
It's actually an episode I watched today. It's the one where Chandler and Joey accidentally leave Ben on a bus. I didn't realize, because I was watching
Ben's
it and I was like, oh shit,
too.
That's Leah Thompson.
Ben is better than his father.
So I looked it up on the Friends wiki, and she had a really illustrious background, and I was like, wow, this is a lot for one character in one scene. And then I was like, she was crossing over from Christine in the City, and Chandler was on an episode of her show. So it's weird because there's a whole 90s sitcom shared universe that people don't know about.
I'm sorry. Shared universe, have you ever seen That's So Sweet Life of Hannah Montana?
There's this whole theory.
That's the best crossover.
Called the Saint... Oh my God, there was this one show about some hospital, and then it turned out at the end it was all made up in some kid's mind because he was looking at a Saint Elsewhere. Okay. The Saint Elsewhere universe, because they had crossovers with other shows, and then those shows went on to crossover with other ones. So Friends has a crossover with Christine in the City. So did Friends happen
in the kid's mind?
There's all these shows: Friends, Cheers, Seinfeld, even modern shows like How I Met Your Mother.
That one show had a crossover, but then ended up being in the kid's mind.
Yeah,
that it's all of them.
Yeah.
Cheers, really?
Yeah. So Friends had a crossover with Mad About You. That's probably their most famous one. That's where Ursula came from. Was the other show that Ursula was a character on another show that Lisa Kudrow played, and so they just brought it in, and that's the episode. And they have a couple of the characters
but
from
Ursula's recurring.
Christine in the City. But then in an episode of Mad About You, they have a crossover with Seinfeld and all this stuff. So technically Friends and Seinfeld take place in the same universe, the same New York.
And Ted Danson is in
I Love You, Ted Danson.
Same universe.
So then that means what? Is The Good Place also?
No.
Gosh.
No, it doesn't.
Because he kind of reprises his role as Sam in The Good Place when he's a bartender.
Sam, he's still being Michael, not Ted Danson. Gotta love you, Ted Danson.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Anyway, so Rachel's number 5.
She possesses many good qualities. She's caring and supportive of all the endeavors her friends have undertaken. She rarely brings any of them down when they want to try something new or do something. Just because they're so supportive of her, so it'd be kind of hypocritical otherwise. She grows a lot, as you said, over the course of the show into being a far more open and conscientious person, mostly due to the influence of the other friends and having Emma. Really, once she has Emma, you can really see kind of a night and day comparison. She became far more receptive to change. She's pretty funny and very feisty, even though she's one of her...
Can't do it. Can you do the Rachel voice though? Wow. Wow. Well, let's get coffee.
Oh my God.
No, Vanessa Bayer does it perfectly on Saturday Night Live.
But she's pretty feisty.
Okay.
Even though one of her negative qualities is that she's kind of a pushover and a bit of a coward. She doesn't really stand up for herself or others that much, but she's very, very fiery.
Yeah. Sorry, just you know how each of the friends kind of have their own catchphrase thing? Ross is the hi, and Monica is the I know. What's Rachel's? Is it just what?
I don't think she really has
She has one. I know she does.
Let's go to the Friends wiki.
Oh, God. I mean, I'm pretty sure I just saw it in a video or something. Just do Rachel Green catchphrase. Are you gonna really go through her entire Wikipedia page? As what? What?
No, it has as her quote, "Isn't that just kick you in the crotch, spit on your neck, fantastic?"
Okay, I don't think that was it. Why don't you just search Rachel Green catchphrase? Rachel Green. She did have the best wardrobe, though. It would be like a running gag. Oh, hers might just... Oh, hers is no.
Yeah.
It's no. Also, oh no, Ross's is also, we were on a break.
Eventually, yeah.
Oh, God.
So here's a diagram of all of her hairstyles as well.
Oh, my God. That's awful.
But yeah, she and Monica actually start the show. I pointed this out to Jess yesterday at Jess's current age, which is kind of weird.
24.
Yeah, they're both 24 at the start.
Wowza.
Yeah.
And Rachel was about to get married to a dentist. Orthodontist named Barry. How the fuck did that come about then?
I think it was like her parents really had a hand in it. What else? She...
Like I said, best outfits on the entire show.
Yeah. She follows her passion and festers a similar enthusiasm in others around her. She accepts that Ross was going to be married to Emily and stops herself from preventing his wedding, even though he kind of does that himself.
Yeah, she can't be blamed for that. And I think some people did.
She goes on to tell Ross to no longer be her friend so he can be with Emily. She gives him her blessing, which I don't think he would ever do for her. But there are some negatives as well. So despite her growth, she can still sometimes be very self-absorbed and selfish. She grew up getting everything she wanted, and this shows. Honestly, she still has the best luck out of all the friends going onward, as almost everything she tries works out for her in some way. She never really fails at anything. So she doesn't really get that kind of feeling. She doesn't get a couple jobs early on, but then it all works out for her, and she accidentally has a baby and everything. I saw this one video comparing her life to how she got what Monica always wanted, almost accidentally. Yeah. But Monica doesn't resent her for that.
Mostly
and we'll get to that later.
Almost all accidentally, I would say.
Getting the job she wants.
Yeah, but she never rubbed it in.
Yeah.
Monica's face. Which is good.
She also does try to sabotage some of Ross's relationships in numerous ways instead of being open and honest with him. With what's Ben Stiller's wife's name? Yeah, when she gets her to shave her head. And then also, again, with the hair, when Phoebe's giving everybody haircuts, when he comes back from China with, what's her name? It's not Emily. Alice?
No.
It's okay. Amy?
No, that doesn't sound right.
Anyway, this girl, and she asks Phoebe to do her hair, and then Phoebe asks Rachel how she should do it, and Rachel gives her some terrible hairstyle to cut her hair, and she was going to go to England to stop his wedding, but she does stop herself. She grows a conscience then. She's constantly steals Monica's thunder, as Monica later points out, and that's even the title of an episode. She has a history of putting Monica down, whether intentionally or not, just by being herself, kind of. She can be stubborn and jealous, and this prevents her from reconciling with Ross after the whole break debacle. Mm-hmm. Julie, there we go.
Sorry.
She didn't invite Monica, her best friend from childhood, to her wedding. Despite her feistiness and stubbornness, she can sometimes be a serious pushover, like in the episode.
Childhood and teen, so that's only a few years.
Yeah.
From when they graduated.
Like in the episode where they're going to get the cheap dress, and she just kind of cowers immediately, fails immediately at trying to do that because it's too intimidating. She's also dishonest, and a lot of her character's trouble that she gets into is related to her lying a lot. Mm-hmm. She doesn't even realize that sometimes she just says stuff and then she just kind of digs herself deeper into a hole. And she, like Ross, does not like to take responsibility for things when they go south, when they go bad. And I guess that's why they're perfect for each other.
She is very funny.
So you kind of agree with those two placements? I
would have had her there anyway, because it's honestly, for me, it would probably be, I don't think she's bad in any way for me, even though she has flaws, but they're just
Yeah,
flaws.
if this was
They're
from
not
their characters at the last episode, it would be different probably, but this is over the course of the series. So up until like season 8, that's when she's still...
I'm saying because the other 4, just like they all grew like a good amount, or they started off a lot better. And
well, one character I think has the most growth, and I'll bring that up later.
Yeah, I know who it is.
Yeah. Number 4. I don't know if you'll agree with this one.
It's gonna be Monica?
No. Phoebe Buffay. Portrayed by Lisa Kudrow. So Phoebe has many this was like the last 4 who I was going to put in 3 and 4 was really tough, and who I was going to put in 2 and 1 was really tough debating between those two. I don't know who you
have in 3 and 2.
Yeah, those were like kind of the tougher areas.
I know who your number 1 is, but I don't know what your next 2 are going to be.
So Phoebe has many fans. She was originally going to be...
Should we go over her names again?
My number 2, but then I was kind of thinking about how other characters were kind of better.
But should we go over her names again?
Yes, go ahead.
Princess Consuela Banana Hammock.
Regina Phalange, Dr. Regina Phalange, and Regine Phalange. And she even uses Phalange later to... Well, I'll bring that up. She has a fantastic...
She uses Phalange in like a lot of situations.
She has a lot of fantastic friendship qualities about her, though from watching the show, it almost seems as if they sometimes decrease over time. Like she kind of becomes a little bit more bitter towards the show's ending, and a lot of sitcoms are like that.
Also,
they
all
become
of her
meaner.
relationships, they ended like so sad.
Yeah.
So I'll give her a right to a bit of bitterness, because like she had some pretty great like romances that it was just like,
she had like the worst upbringing out of all of them. So.
Oh yeah. She mugged Ross.
So she's very protective of her group of friends, probably due to her lack of...
I thought that was a bug.
Oh my god,
that scared the shit out of me.
Her lack of personal familial bonds. So she, like Chandler, kind of treats her friends more as her family.
Yeah.
This can lead to her doing some incredibly nice deeds for them, such as pretending to be Ursula in order to kindly break up with Joey in one episode.
And that's when I think everyone was just kind of like, all right, at least we got that.
Yeah.
At least we got that.
In the first season.
The crumbs, yeah. Was that the first season?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Yeah. I think like at the end of the show, they were like, hey, but you remember that one time?
Yeah.
That it coulda, shoulda, maybe. But no, because then she ended up with fabulous.
She will go to great lengths sometimes to do kind things for others, such as carrying her newly met brother's child because he and his wife can't conceive. She marries her gay friend from Canada so he can get a green card, even though he turns out not to be gay, and she's actually in love with him, but she still, divorces him so he can go and marry who he wants to marry. So even though that causes her pain.
I don't know if you would see this as like a plus, but she does call her friends out when they're like not being a good friend, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, I have that down
like
as
Monica, like when it what's it called, like the living situation, and also the massage thing. Rachel,
the massage thing,
how Monica won't get a massage from her. And then Phoebe like walks in and she's like, why wouldn't you just tell me? Like, I would have been okay with it. And there's just so many situations where she's like, I would have been fine with this. Like,
she tells Rachel that Paulo is a creep, even though she thought that Rachel might be mad at her too.
She tells Joey like how upset she was when he wanted to cancel dinner for like a date. Mm-hmm. Because she was like, I thought that we were closer than that. And I don't think that's like a bad thing. It should have just been like, you shouldn't have lied.
Not only does she do her best to be selfless with her friends, but she's also with the world and the environment, as she is portrayed as the most conscientious friend when it comes to this area.
When she's pregnant.
Yeah, she's an ardent vegetarian and even holds funerals for flowers. Phoebe does her best to entertain her friends and anyone she meets with her musical talents, if you want to call them that. Phoebe also tries
to sell out.
Yeah, tries her best
to do that to her.
To stop Rachel from going to Ross's wedding in England, even though she's pregnant and can't really do much.
Children in her.
Phoebe is very supportive of almost everything her friends try, unless it goes against one of her ideals, i.e. when she enthusiastically sings along with Ross's attempt to learn the bagpipe. She is being a supportive friend at that point.
Celebrate. I will say,
such a good clip.
When it comes to outtakes in shows, because you know how I love watching outtakes, I think hers are like the ones that are the funniest because she's like, she just doesn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
And so they just go on forever, specifically in the bagpipes.
She has a strangely, as you were saying, strangely clear moments of sage wisdom to impart on others, which kind of goes in with what you're saying. She'll call them on their bullshit.
Yeah.
She constantly makes sure her friends are...
let them know, you hurt my feelings, or...
Yeah, are in the best place when it comes to self-esteem and their romantic lives. She has a lot of love to give, so a lot of people theorize that she's probably bisexual.
The second that she finds out that Chandler loves Monica, she stops, trying to, joke with them, and she's like, oh my god, yay! Friends are in love!
Well, there's that example.
She's so supportive.
When she says that Monica has the breasts of a Greek goddess, when she encourages Rachel to dress up as Princess Leia with Ross, she does her best to stop the plane Rachel is on in the finale.
The whole episode when they're goddesses or whatever, what book do they fucking read or article?
The Sealing Their Wind.
Yes, so supportive. The wedding dress episode.
Yeah, she actually helps Monica. I don't know if I'd count these, but she also has the two best non-friend love interests on the show, Mike and David. So clearly she attracts good people. But she also has some detractions, otherwise she wouldn't be at number 4. She gives a lot, but can sometimes come off as childish and jealous, especially when it comes to dealing with her twin sister Ursula. She'll usually use the excuse of her mother's death or her vegetarianism just to get her own way instead of compromising or coming up with an actual argument against something. Despite all of her idealistic claims, she is shown to be the most hypocritical member of the group, such as caving in on Pottery Barn, working for a massage spa that she previously denounced, and eating a lot of meat throughout the series. Not even just when she's pregnant, but in the episode with all the lasagnas, she's eating them even though they're not vegetarian, and that's the whole reason why.
But then she uses her vegetarianism to not eat the meat trifle.
Yeah.
Though, honestly, wouldn't we all?
The massage spa, I think Rachel gets a gift card or something. And Phoebe says not to use it because they put independent massage therapists out of work. But then she goes and she's working. But it's really funny because when she's talking to one of her coworkers there, her coworker's talking like this and how she has a patient outside. And she's just like, okay, we're alone. Can we not speak like that? Which is really funny. So that's Phoebe and why she's at number 4.
Fabulous, though.
Number 3. Again, this was difficult.
This is why I don't know.
For me specifically.
For you?
Chandler Bing, number 3.
Oh.
Portrayed by Matthew Perry.
Okay, I was very wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong to the max. I thought he was going to be number 1.
No, I have a different number 1.
Am I number 1?
Jess, here, let's just go.
By the way, in every quiz, Dan has gotten Chandler. So this is why I'm very confused.
Yeah, I don't think that he's the best one.
No, I know, but I've gotten Monica because of many of
You're
reasons.
the mom friend.
And also, I don't know.
The hostess friend.
I know. That enthusiasm.
Yeah. So just out of that, because everyone has their friend's character that they are, just so you know who we are, a little bit more about us. I usually get Chandler.
Who would be my second option?
Well, there's
Joseph?
one on BuzzFeed that gives you percentages, like a percentage breakdown. And on that one, I was max percentage Chandler, then Monica, then Rachel and Joey were tied, then Phoebe, then Ross, who had the tiniest amount for me. Thank Christ. So while not immediately obvious, Chandler possesses many of the qualities that make him an amazing friend. Off the bat, he is the funniest in the group and is always trying to lighten the mood with witty jokes and upbeat banter, despite the fact that he may not be feeling so great himself, and mostly due to the fact that he's not feeling so great.
And he's also uncomfortable in many situations.
He also shows the most growth over the show's course, going from a closed-off, wise guy with a job he hates to a loving husband and father doing what he loves. This is because he becomes more receptive to the influence of his friends that they have on his personality, most notably Monica and Joey.
Gets some closure about his parents.
Yeah, he learns to let his guard down and be open with his friends, as they are more like a family to him than his real family members. Chandler financially supports Joey for about 10 years, so Joey can focus on pursuing his dream of being a successful actor, which he succeeds in and eventually pays Chandler back for, but Chandler believed in him.
Chandler doesn't really help him with money-wise when he's an intern.
Yeah.
And it's he can't.
And at that point, that's season 9, so Joey's already successful.
Yeah.
Chandler even makes sure that the house he and Monica buy in the suburbs has a Joey room in it. In fact, there seems to be very little that Chandler won't do for his best friend, Joey.
Didn't you watch something that said, if not for before Monica, Chandler's soulmate
was Joey, and arguably and even after Monica.
You can have more than one, guys. It's okay.
Chandler,
friend soulmates are just as valid.
Yeah, actually, some recent study showed that men tend to, I don't know if this study's been done on women, but a study on college-age men show that they value their friendships over any kind of romantic relationship that they have.
Yeah, I know that you would leave me for JJ if he like really wanted you to. I think that you would, and I think I would just be like, yeah, it's okay. I understand.
He shows immense loyalty to Joey and then later Monica as well. Mm-hmm. He is loyal to his other friends, but just not to the same degree. Like, he still does a whole lot for a lot of the other friends. His jokes, while sometimes aimed at the others, are rarely seriously offensive to them and most often directed at himself. Yeah. And anytime he does make any jokes, they are in his own way of kind of warning his friends against something that will be bad or embarrassing for them down the line, because he kind of has a difficulty being open with people. That's his way of saying, hey, you look a little bit silly right now, or hey, maybe you should change the way that you're acting because this is going to be bad and further down the line for you. Yeah. And despite his emotionally devoid upbringing and early trauma, he still ends up kind and generous to his friends. Yeah. He spent Thanksgiving in a box so Joey will trust him again.
Oh, yeah.
He, along with Joey, won the friendship trivia contest, showing that they are better friends, or at least know more than...
His catchphrase one-liner is the best one. Like could I be
any more blank right now?
And then when Joey uses it against
be wearing any more clothes? And also in an earlier season when they're talking about the way that he says things with my scone. And he's like, I do not sound like that. Or however it is. Although then again, Ross wrote the friendship contest. So in a way, I guess Ross would also, if you're using that logic.
Because he clearly knew all the answers.
And he is my favorite. So, of course, he's high on the list. But he does have a few pitfalls in his personality at the start of the series and up until he really starts dating Monica about halfway through.
To commit?
Yeah, he's quite closed off and his jokes can come across as mean-spirited. Come across as mean-spirited some of the time, as they're his defense mechanism to keep people at a distance.
Honestly, I think out of the group, he was the emo friend.
Yeah, I mean, originally he was...
Doesn't seem
like it,
They wrote him
as he was going to come out as gay later, but then they thought that would just kind of come off as bad because...
that literally was like... He's just like a joke constantly?
Yeah, but then they were like, well, his dad was gay, and then that's kind of like saying, like, oh, just because his dad was gay, that's why he's gay. Like, and they thought that would just give a bad message.
There was a baby named after him. That's how great Chandler is, by the way.
I forgot about that. Phoebe names a baby after him.
No, Frank does.
Oh, yeah. But at Phoebe's suggestion, because he does something for... I forget exactly what it is he does.
But even though it's a girl, he still names it Chandler, and I'm like, yeah. And then...
Chandler's a girl. Again, before he really starts to grow, he has sort of a pushover, and he's sort of a pushover, like similar vein to Rachel, who would lie and then just keep getting into more trouble instead of confronting an issue. Thankfully, this never really negatively affected his relationships with his friends, but it did force him to go to Yemen once and trash his own office as well.
And he also... say one flaw is up until the marriage, he was still like freaked out by things like when he heard the answering machine, and then he disappeared for a little bit on the day of the wedding. Like, yeah.
So he has commitment issues. But this tendency
I think being with Monica was like the best choice
Chandler
because she was like
2.
She knew him so well that it was
What's his job?
Sorry, number 3.
I get it.
Number 3.
Sorry,
We're on
what's his
number 3.
job? And it's school.
This tendency stops when he's with Monica and he stands up to her very firmly when it comes to spending his nest egg on statistical analysis and data to keep that money. Statistical analysis and data process or support children.
I honestly don't know which one's which for number 1 and 2.
All right, so I guess, just saying number 2 kind of gives away number 1, but I'll get into my reasoning. It was a very tough decision.
I'm really confused.
And my number
now.
2 was originally my number 1, but just missed it, actually, because I kind of rethought everything and was like, well, actually, this one exemplifies.
Okay, just say who's number 2.
Okay.
Fucking hell.
Number 2 is, do you want to guess?
No.
Joey Tribbiani, portrayed by Matt LeBlanc.
I wanted Monica
to
be up there.
So his defining attribute amongst
that he's lower than
his friends is loyalty. It's hard to think of a time during the entire series where he betrays or lies to any of the friends in the group.
Also just kind.
He will often put their needs above his own when prioritizing aspects of his life. He will jump to their defense at a heartbeat. And because of this, almost every other member of the group is extremely loyal and protective of Joey, mostly Chandler and Phoebe, in terms of who's protective of Joey. He's the true heart of the group, and none of them really ever have any issues with him.
Except for, like, once with Chandler.
Yeah.
That was because Chandler did him dirty.
Yeah, spending time with... That was another reason why Chandler was number 3.
Yeah.
So, he...
Stole his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then Ross kind of did the same thing.
Spending time with Joey is always entertaining for his friends, so much so that Phoebe and Rachel fight over who gets to live with him instead of live with Monica and Chandler.
Mm-hmm. And also who they're going to marry past a certain age.
Yeah, catches on fire. I've seen it said that Joey never really has any serious long-term relationships because his friends are the real relationship he cares enough about to maintain and put so much effort into. So he cares more about...
Sorry, I just noticed on the screen behind Dan, it has like the classic Friends milkshake poster. Why the fuck is Rachel the only one not looking at the camera?
She likes it. She likes the milkshake.
Everyone else is. Like, they're struggling to have, like, the straw in the shake and look at the camera, and she's just like, ooh, what the fuck is happening? Okay, go on.
So he's more into the platonic relationships.
Good catchphrase.
Good catchphrase. Although, apparently that doesn't show up until season 4 in all my research yesterday.
Oh, well.
He doesn't really start using it until... the end of season 4,
and then it's
actually.
like the one that people probably think of the most.
Yeah, in relation to the show.
Just how you do.
He breaks up with Rachel, even though it made him upset because he knew they weren't right together and that she'd be happier with Ross.
He also waited to pursue Rachel. Like, he pushed down his feelings because he didn't think that it was right to pursue her.
He gives up Hugsy.
He got, like, the okay. Hugsy.
For Emma to have.
The little penguin motherfucker.
Once he becomes super successful, he pays back all that he owed, and is always trying to help out his friends with his newfound success, such as paying for things and getting them jobs on set when they're in between jobs otherwise.
He officiates
their wedding.
Monica and Chandler's wedding.
He does a lot for a lot of people. But he isn't number 1 because, it would be remiss to say that sometimes his general womanizing is off-putting.
Yeah, they started him off quite
gross.
Poorly.
Yeah, especially when directed towards the women in the friends group, although this generally stops and he clearly sees them more platonically later on, save for Rachel. And even then, anytime he's making like a joke like that, it's clearly
like
a joke. He's not actually hitting on them. Yeah. And also for a large majority of the first half of the show, he was a bit of a mooch who would take money and food from Chandler and Monica without having much to offer in return.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that he at least had one full meal at Monica's apartment every day.
Yeah.
Until he could pay for it. Oh, someone is getting...
Sorry, we're eavesdropping on people outside right now.
This is the tea of our apartment building. Apologies if you could hear anything. But that's kind of why he isn't number 1. Do you have any other kind of observations or reasons?
I think out of the friends, he's the kindest.
Yes,
but also
I think it's
the
also
most,
due to his upbringing.
Childish, like he's very innocent and just kind of.
He represents that childhood kind of innocence. He
considers just buying a dictionary of what letter was he?
No, encyclopedia.
Encyclopedia. Sorry, of what letter?
V, I think it was.
V or Z, yeah, because like. He admits that he doesn't know a lot of what's happening like most of the time in conversations. But like he means well. Mm-hmm. Almost like I would say like 95% of the time he truly means
anything mean-spirited over the course of the entire show. He's not a mean character at all.
Putting on all of Chandler's clothes with no underwear. You know?
Although that was kind of escalation. Chandler could have just let it go and just sat in a different chair.
That's one of the best episodes, but still.
It has a good bottle episode. It's entirely set in Monica's apartment. And in that episode, Ross is a complete prick to Rachel and everybody because like nobody's ready. And he's just like making it worse, honestly, by being so intrusive. Ugh. Yeah, he's really mean to
And
Rachel
also, like, I like how it was written, like, everyone was supposed to really love Ross and kind of dislike Joey at first. But then everyone was like, no, we love Joey. We love him. No. All right, so number 1, really?
Number 1 is Gunther. Gunther is number 1. I'm kidding.
Oh, Janice.
Monica Geller, portrayed by Courtney Cox. Monica is
no longer Courtney Cox.
The best friend on the show, and this isn't up for debate. And despite my best judgment initially, she is the best friend, and I will fight anybody who says otherwise. She is the constant hostess. She always allows her friends to drop in to use her apartment and eat her food, even when she isn't home. She's always cooking food for them.
She does her job when she's at home. Like, most people...
Yeah.
You don't usually keep doing your job when you're home, and she's a cook, and she still does it for everyone nonstop, holidays and all. Yeah,
this is probably due to her strong maternal instincts manifesting in care for her friends. She's loyal, focused, hardworking, and organized. Any bossiness that she has comes from a place of love and wanting her friends to have and be the best.
She's a secret hoarder.
Yeah.
In one closet in the apartment.
She does everything for her friends and seemingly would do anything for them. She supports Rachel in the very first episode, even though Rachel didn't invite her to her wedding. She helps Chandler grow a lot. She's always been a voice for reason for Ross. She organizes Phoebe's wedding for free, and like Chandler, helped support Joey for years with food and a place to hang out and spend time when he was not working.
And she goes through a lot of tough
She also gets Joey... Well, she gets Joey a really high-paying waiter job just so she could fire him because it was his idea that she fire him, even though he doubles back because he's earning so much in tips.
She could intimidate, like... The others.
Make an example of him.
But it's not like that was like initially like she didn't want to go into the job and like be like intimidating, but she needed
She helps Chandler get like a job when he decides that he doesn't want to do what he's been doing for years.
She supports him while he becomes an intern.
Yeah, she like, you know, finds everything that she thinks he'd be interested in and organizes it alphabetically with like highlights and everything, even though he chooses the very first thing, which is advertising.
She accepts the defeat and switching apartments, like even
though she's extremely competitive,
but like she does let it happen because she's like, you know what, like you won.
Monica is the glue that holds the entire group together, so without her only Chandler and Joey would probably be friends, possibly just roommates, honestly. She kind of has the connection to everybody on the show.
If she wasn't there, they wouldn't. Oh wait, how did they meet Joey?
He was responding to Chandler's like want ad for a roommate. He accidentally goes somewhere else.
Chandler might not have been close with like Ross, and then that beautiful friendship.
Exactly. Well, no, even then he probably just wouldn't really see Ross that much. They would have still been roommates in college, but
still,
But what truly sets Monica apart from the others is the fact that even though she's so kind and bubbly, even though she has so much in her life that has not gone the way that she planned, she jumps from job to pursue her career, her dream career. She can't conceive a child with Chandler, which is literally what she's always wanted to do, and suffers from terrible self-esteem due to her previous weight problems and growing up in Ross and Rachel's shadows. So Monica could easily be the worst and most bitter of her friends because of her upbringing, but she isn't, and that's what makes her the best friend, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's my list.
I like it. Would you like to say her thing?
I know. I know.
That's not it.
That's what she would sound like if she was from Philadelphia.
Can you do Janice's?
No, I'm not a performing monkey.
Oh my god.
No, I think there's no real...
Oh my... I can't
no, it's more... Oh my god. It descends. It's not like a crescendo. Though. Yeah, but it comes... It goes down.
You gotta hold it. You gotta hold it.
Yes.
What?
So that's my list. Do you agree with it?
Yeah.
How would you have ranked it? Who's your favorite friend and who do you think is the best friend? Because my favorite's Chandler, but I obviously think Monica's the best.
It probably would have gone like Chandler and Monica. It would have been 1 and 2. I don't know which order. Then Phoebe and Joey for 3 and 4. I don't know which order. And then Rachel, and then Ross. I do know the order.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my list. Mm-hmm. Cool. Let me know what you think of it. I know people still really like Friends. Our generation really likes Friends, probably because it reminds us of a time when we were all children.
Did you watch it when you were little?
Yeah, just a couple episodes. My mom was really into it, so I wasn't like allowed to. 2
or 3 seasons. Like it wasn't like bad.
Well, it's the most popular thing streamed on Netflix.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I would have been 8 when I started watching it because I remember watching the finale. And my mom was convinced that they were going to kill someone off because it was a show finale. And we were like, who the fuck are they going to kill? She was like, well, Rachel's getting on a plane. And we were like, Mom.
Oh, my God.
No. And then she got off the plane. I got off the plane.
And then it's Friends. And then I think The Office is after that. So I guess I could do a spiritual successor to this of who's the best employee in The Office. It's Pam.
Would you ever do like a Parks and Rec one?
Yeah. It's Leslie. Easy.
No, not employee, just like... Yeah, she is the best person. Yeah. Oh, not Ben for you?
No, Leslie is the best employee.
No, not employee. I'm saying just like character.
Oh, then I won't go into that because I probably will do that eventually.
Do you relate to Ben?
Possibly.
He does.
It's not about the cones, Jess.
No,
it's about the cones.
No, you
Are the cones a metaphor?
It's about
yes and no.
The cones. All right. Guys,
Thank you so much for listening to this episode.
Sorry, I'm very tired.
Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We are at 10 for 10 pod on there. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, even though it's not well maintained. It's still there. You can listen to all the podcast episodes there. Be sure to follow us on Podbean as well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts / iTunes. I don't really know which one it is.
Just the podcast app that comes on your iPhone.
Yeah, but then it's like also on iTunes as well. So I don't know.
That's through iTunes.
What else is there? You would
open iTunes and you would hit podcasts and then search.
Oh, you can email us at 10for10pod@gmail.com with suggestions for lists. We're kind of at that point where, I'll really take suggestions.
Because I have no fucking clue what to do anymore.
I was initially going to do best female superheroes to celebrate Captain Marvel coming out.
I want to do that, and I said no.
Because I'm very excited for that movie. But I've been watching a lot of Friends recently, so this one kind of just jumped into my mind because I was like, wow, Ross is a really terrible friend. Be sure to tell your friends and family and enemies and everybody about this show. That really helps the most, more than anything. And be sure to leave us a nice review on iTunes, because that also helps kind of put us in front of other people and encourages us to keep doing this. So thank you so much for listening again. Have a fantastic week.
So long.
Stay dry and warm wherever you are. It's wet and cold where we are. So
it's nasty out.
Have a nice day. We'll be there. This was a list to find out who was there for their friends the most.
Okay, goodbye.
When the rain starts to pour.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Like I've been there before.
Goodbye. This podcast is part of the Shrimp Queen Network.
Visit facebook.com/Shrimp Queen Network to see more great podcasts.
Hear them.
Hear more great podcasts.
Good job.
Thanks for listening.